Hey there guys, I'm Will and welcome to FP1. And now an interesting story came up at the end of the Italian Grand Prix, and that's that Sebastian Vettel now has 9 penalty points on his licence, one major incident away from a one-race ban. Now that would be interesting. So I thought I'd take this opportunity today then just to discuss this penalty in a little bit more detail and speculate who could replace Sebastian were he to receive that one-race ban. So let's start then with a brief history lesson. Starting in 2009, the last time Ferrari had to replace a driver in Formula 1. Now that was after Felipe Massa's accident in Hungary, and he was replaced by Luca Badoer for 2 races, who did an awful job, finished last in both of them before being replaced himself for Giancarlo Fisichella for the rest of the season. Fast forward then to 2012 and we see the latest instance of a driver being banned from Formula 1. This time it was Romain Grosjean in his rookie season for Lotus, where he caused several high-profile Turn 1 incidents, culminating at the Belgian Grand Prix, where he caused a pile-up, taking out championship contenders Lewis Hamilton and Fernando Alonso. The FIA finally stood in at this point and banned Romain from the next race in Italy, where he was replaced with Jerome D'Ambrosio. Now, reacting to Grosjean's awful start to that year, the FIA implemented a penalty point system where if a driver culminates over 12 points over the course of a 12-month period, not season, a 12-month period, he would receive a one-race ban. And this is where Vettel's problems start to come in. So to elaborate more on this then, the penalty points Vettel received for his incident with Lance Stroll in Italy will finally be scraped off the record at the Italian Grand Prix in 2020, not at the end of the season. And as it stands, Sebastian Vettel has 9 points up until the US Grand Prix in 4 races time. That means if he creates a major incident like he did in Italy in the next 4 rounds, he will receive that one race ban. So I've created a short list then of 7 drivers I think could take Sebastian Vettel's seat for that one race if he were to receive a ban. Now let's start from within the Ferrari family, and the 3 simulator drivers they have at the moment are ex-F2 racer Antonio Fuoco and Brendan Hartley, who of course raced for Toro Rosso last year, and then ex-Sauber and Manor driver Pascal Wehrlein. Now Fuoco we can immediately rule out, as he does not qualify for an F1 super license, would not be allowed to take that seat. Hartley and Wehrlein, though, I think are both really good bets. Hartley, of course, had a bit of a torrid year with Toro Rosso in 2018, but it wasn't necessarily always his fault. I mean, if you think back to Canada, he was taken out by Lance Stroll in Silverstone. He wasn't even able to start the race due to a suspension failure in practice. And then I think he also got taken out at the start of the Italian Grand Prix. Pascal Wehrlein, though, I think he probably is the better bet. He was a lot more consistent in his 2 or 3 years in Formula 1. I think he was racing for Manor and then Sauber in that time. Both Hartley and Wehrlein both can be racing in Formula E. At least we imagine for Wehrlein, we think he'll stay on with Mahindra. Hartley already signed on for his first season with Dragon. Now, the Formula E season doesn't kick off until December, so both drivers would effectively be free, and you'd think they would have a clause in their contract where they could be picked up for a drive if either Charles Leclerc or Sebastian Vettel would be unable to race for whatever reason. But out of these 2, I'm thinking Pascal Wehrlein, again, just because of his consistency. And I think everyone feels sorry for the man. He always had pace in Formula 1, and just sort of, especially when Ocon came into the Mercedes fold, and Russell as well, he just didn't have a place in that Mercedes family anymore. And it was sad to see him go. I think he definitely could have been up there. Had we seen him in a Mercedes, he would have done very, very well, I think. Now, branching out a little bit then, if we look at Alfa Romeo, who are effectively the B team for Ferrari at the moment, we've got Antonio Giovinazzi, of course, has links with Ferrari at the moment, and then ex-Ferrari driver Kimi Räikkönen. No more direct links with Ferrari, but I could see them calling back Räikkönen for one race. I mean, Alfa can always replace whichever driver went there with Marcus Ericsson. He might even be able to get a drive this time, unlike in Spa. And I think Räikkönen would do really well on the Ferrari. I mean, I think he's definitely enjoyed his move back to the midfield and happy to have a bit of that pressure off him now. But I'm sure he'd jump at the opportunity to have one more race with Ferrari, especially since his last one at the end of 2018 resulted in a failure. I think it was an electronics failure at the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. So I'm sure he'd like to have a slightly better swan song than that. So if he was given the option, I'm pretty confident he would take it. Giovinazzi, of course, is linked with Ferrari, but hasn't had a fantastic season so far. So I think if they did go to Alfa, Räikkönen would be the better bet. Now, I know this name will come up possibly in the comments, but Esteban Ocon, let's just talk about why he probably wouldn't be allowed in that Ferrari seat. Of course, he is a Mercedes junior at the moment. And can I see Merc just giving him over to Ferrari for a race? Definitely not. Of course, he's racing for Renault next year as well. I don't think they'd be too keen to see him in a slightly higher up team as well, just in case they decide to latch onto him for a little bit more and Renault again end up losing their driver from another team. Now again, another name I think could show up in the comments is Mick Schumacher. Now, when I initially thought about this, I thought, I'm not too sure about that. I mean, we don't want to stunt his growth in Formula 1, but if you think about it, he could always go back to F2 next year. The rules with F2 is that if you contest a full season in Formula 1, you are ineligible for Formula 2. But this would just be a one-off race, so he could just come back for the next round in Sochi. Be fantastic for Ferrari's marketability. They're signing on the son of a 7-time world champion that won 5 of his championships with that team. So, yeah, that might just be a good bet for him. It would also let Schumacher show his skills in Formula 1. I don't think it's the best idea for him still, but you never know. It's a bit of an out of left field choice, but hey, I think everyone would be really happy to see that. And then finally, I might as well say this because a news story came up earlier in the week, and that's that Pastor Maldonado came out and said in 2014 he was very close to signing on to Ferrari to replace Felipe Massa. Now that would be a story. Maldonado in a Ferrari, and yeah, that 2014 Ferrari would have been a bit poor, but that would have been a sight. So why don't they call him back? Just say, Pastor, we nearly gave you a drive in 2014. Want to come back? Come back for one race? That would be brilliant. I don't think it'll happen. I think the chances of that happening are about 0.01%. But the Formula 1 meme community would absolutely love that. But those are just my thoughts then. If you think there's another driver that could replace Vettel if he does get that penalty and that race ban, please let me know down in the comments below. I'll try to get back to as many of you as I can. And of course, don't forget to leave a like, comment, and of course subscribe. And I will see you guys in the next one.